Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath. From Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, how to control our mind. What is mind? What is intelligence? And what are sense objects? How to control the senses? These are described in Bhagavad Gita very detailedly. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, our senses like our eyes, nose, tongue, our ears, our hands, so they are all compared to be like horses of a chariot. And there is a driving instrument that is compared to be mind. And there is a driver that is compared to intelligence. And the self is sitting as a passenger. The way our senses are moving, like the horses are moving in the front, the passenger, whether he is sitting properly, whether he is sitting comfortably or not, depends on how the vehicle is moving. If the road is improper, if the vehicle is moving in different dangers, not the passenger is very comfortable sitting backside. They will be jumping and moving this side, that side. Similarly, our senses have to be controlled. If our eyes are moving in one direction, our nose is going in one, thinking about one smell, it is moving in one direction. Our tongue is always wanting to eat something or moving in one direction. Our ears are after something and moving in one direction. Can you imagine 5 horses are going in 5 different directions? The driver cannot control it. A driver can control by driving instrument, that is mind. So this mind is considered in the Bhagavad Gita that a mind is a friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. If you say knife is good or bad, knife is good in the hands of a doctor while he is doing operation. Knife is good in the hand of a cook. He nicely can cut vegetables. Some cooks make variety shapes of vegetables. They show their cooking skills by cutting vegetables so nicely, presentable with different designs. So knife is not bad by itself. The knife, if it is an instrument in the hand of a proper person, in a proper circumstances, it can be used. The same knife, if it is in the hand of a miscreant, he will want to take it and use it to put on somebody's neck and say, give me money, or he may harm them, exploit them. So these are the way how the same knife can be used for 2 purposes with 2 different kind of people. So here it is said that this mind has to be controlled. Why it should be controlled? It is been mentioned, mana eva manushyanam, manushya. This word manushya, human being, what we generally are known as Homo sapiens, a botanical name of human being. So this Homo sapien in Sanskrit is called as manushya. Manushya, this word, this Sanskrit term has come from the word manishinaha manushya. This means a person who is very thoughtful. Until you are thoughtful, you cannot be even a human being. So this manaha in manushya, in a human being, this manaha means mind in a human being. Karanam bandha mokshayoho. It can give us liberation also, it can put us in entanglement also. So what has to be done? For mind is a cause of bondage and mind is a cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is a cause of bondage. A conditioned mind is always after flickering happiness. You see children, they can be easily tackled by some lights. If you give some toys with lights, digital mobile. Parents want to give children digital mobiles so that they will allow them to work. So when they are crying, they'll give them their smartphone, so that they'll become more smarter, or they'll allow them to work. Mostly what happens is, when our senses are demanding something, you give them, these children gets attracted by lights, and it will get, it's thinking it is giving some happiness. In 1980 kids, 1990 kids, there were only some toys with some making some sound, taka 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 taka, something like that, it will make some sound. Or you press, it's a water game, you press and something will go and fall. I think the present generation would have not even heard about such games were available those days. Maybe little later some video games came with one or two running like this, like this, like this. So you see, color, attraction, this and all attract so much conditioned soul when we are conditioned that I will get something, I will get something. But if you supply it, the same children in one house, one elderly mother, their children, they have left their their grandchildren are left in the house. So elderly mother is taking care of the house. So she is in the house and the children are playing. The mother, her daughter has told, mother, please take care of my children. I am going to office, and you please see to it that they don't call me. I am in an important project. So if they ask mobile, you please give them, so that they will not disturb. They will not disturb me, nor they will not disturb you. You can do some cooking and give them some food. They will be peaceful if you give them some food. So listening that, the grandmother of these children, she gave mobile. So after 1 hour, 2 hours, the charge got over. So this 5 years kid is asking, please give me your mobile. So now the grandmother has trouble. She has to hold one more younger kid, maybe some 3 years or 2 years old kid, and she has to take care of 5 years and old, 6 years old kid. So both she has to manage, and she will be getting some calls. So she told, no, I will not give my mobile, I require. She told, grandma, if you don't give me mobile, then I will cry and I have to go to my mother now. You please drop me in my mother's house. So grandmother, what she will do? She gave that mobile also. So this child watched that mobile for 8 hours, morning to night, even without eating food. Or if some food is being given, she was watching mobile, some cartoons or some other games, video games, some child games, and it was eating something. The child already has got 1 glasses, 5 years old child, she has a big spectacles. And after that, grandmother is saying, oh dear child, now you please give up that mobile. She said, grandma, I don't want this mobile. I told, that's what I am saying you. But after some time she is saying, grandma, I am feeling lot of eye pain. And she is feeling she is not getting sleep and she is getting swelling. She has like a swelling, full black color below her eyes, and above her eyes swelling is there. So she is getting swelling and she wants to sleep, but she is crying. So grandma pacified her. Don't worry child, you please sleep baby. Like that she patted the child. After half an hour, this child gets up, again asks, grandma, I want mobile. See, the addiction is such a kind of thing that even in spite of the child crying and so much, after half an hour she is saying, give me mobile. It is not the child mistake. The children's senses, they are uncontrollable. They have to be trained. If the training is not given, this like this, the senses are driven. The senses drive the body. You take me there, you take me there, you take me there. It drives it like anything. It hooks on, and you'll feel I can never come out of it. I can never come out of it. It puts us into such kind of situation. The same for elders who start having some other habits. Habits are made. You don't take birth with this kind of habits. Not that 2 days you don't smoke or 2 days you don't take coffee, tea, you will die. But it makes us feel that, oh, if I don't take today cigarettes or some smoking or a smartphone, I will die today. 20 years back, the same people were there, and there were no mobiles at all. There was no Facebook some 2 decades back, maybe some 15 years back or little before that Facebook came. Were people not happy? Were they not sharing feelings among friends and relatives? There are some old photographs. They'll come together in the house. They open that album, black and white album in the 1960s, 70s album, and they enjoy each photograph, each clip. That was a Facebook those days. That was an album those days. Now until we get some 200 likes, 300 likes, even your best friend who is a well-wisher, they really appreciate from the heart. You are very nice, very beautiful. They may not feel as much as 250 likes. You are wonderful, sir. You are wonderful, madam. If 100 times that likes are given, yeah, these are my real friends. These real friends may not be in our reality. When we are having some fever, or even if fever is not there, or they are staying far away also, if that well-wisher prays, even if they are there far away, they cannot be physically in front of us, their prayers for us, their feelings for us matter so much. So these senses are such a kind of thing, they drag, and it requires training. Training is very, very important, you see. That's how in military or in NCC, in school days, we all remember how they will make us run some 4 or 5 times around the ground, and suppose there is a punishment required. In our school days in NCC, sometimes some students, they don't cut their nails or hair is grown more, so they'll do frog jumping. You have to catch like this and do frog jumping. So why this kind of chastisement is given to us? Why do they punish us? So that we get disciplined. If you are disciplined, you can work. There was a story, maybe you would have heard in childhood also. He used to go every day to school, steal one pencil or tiffin carrier of his friend and bring. Here also one grandmother was there. Maybe that mother and father were not there, grandmother was taking care. And every day he'll steal something and come. He'll give to grandmother. Grandmother, you see, I have brought pencil, I have brought tiffin box of my friend. So she'll appreciate, oh my boy, you know so many tricks. Very intelligent boy. He knows how to steal. So this boy slowly grew. Then when he grew up little more elder, little higher education, that time he started doing more mischief. Then maybe you don't know what and all he did. He became a grown-up man. So one day he had entered some house for stealing. There the person, he stopped him. He took the knife and he put inside his chest and he died. The police came and arrested this fellow. They took him to the court. The court, it was proven that he went to steal. He actually killed that person. So he told, I didn't do purposely. I went to steal. He objected me. I did like this. He got killed. What should I do? They said, okay, anyway you have to get punished. So what is your final wish? So he is supposed to be now dying. He said, I want to one time meet my grandmother. So his grandmother was crying, oh, my grandson is getting killed, now their government is cheating, all that she was cursing the court. So he said, you please come grandmother, say, brought the grandmother nearby. He said, you come even more nearby. So she went little more nearby. Then he told, I want to say a secret, he went closer, that grandmother was trying to hear something. Then immediately he bit her ears. So she started crying. She said, foolish lady, why are you crying? You should have beaten me in my childhood. You should have punished me. Your leniency has brought me to death now. So this is in the case of some other person complaining. Can we imagine ourselves, we become victims. So we have to be self-critical. We have to know how to not make somebody, we always take a victim position. What to do? They made me like this. What to do? It is all because of the circumstance I became like this. Even if there are no circumstances, we get into circumstance and do bad activities. That is what habits means. Habit means we start repeating something for small enjoyment. Little enjoyment, you'll think, oh, this is giving me enjoyment. Okay, let me do more. I remember one friend of mine in school days, even rich man children steal by habits. I've heard from story from our school teacher also, how rich man children steal. Our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, he used to give story in Calcutta, how one rich man's kid, he used to go to railway station and he will say, the people there, I lost my purse, I don't have money, can you please give me some money, I want to go to my village, like that he will cry. So somebody will give him some money, then he will go to some hotel, eat something and go back to his house. So like this they was cheating. So he is a rich man's son, but he likes to cheat. So my teacher used to say, how even rich men children, for them sometimes cheating is a habit. Not that they don't have anything so they are stealing. They go and take something from father's pocket, that is father pocket, doesn't mind. But a rich man's son, he may not think that stealing is a wrong thing. There is a first class intelligence person. You don't have to know that after stealing, that is wrong, after police you are catching. Before that only you can know. By experience of others, you are told stealing is bad, means you stop stealing. That is first class intelligence. The next level of intelligence is when you experience somebody is stealing, then they have been caught by police, you see. After that, oh my God, I should not do. I will be careful. And then that person is actually caught. Then he becomes experienced. Then even more he will think, oh, I will not do at all. But there are people, you catch them, they go to police station, beaten up, again come back, again you do the same mistake again and again, again and again. So they are not even third class intelligence. First class at least, by hearing he will stop doing anything mischief. Second class, when he sees of others also he may stop. The third class at least, when he gets beaten up, he will stop. But there are people intelligence, they have so low class intelligence that they will never be able to change themselves even though they are being given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. So we have to become intelligent. So that kind of intelligence is what? You have to control your senses. So the senses, why it should be controlled? Because it is said, it is a cause, mind is a cause of bondage, mind is a cause of liberation. If the mind is absorbed in sense objects, it is a cause of bondage. And the mind detached from sense object is a cause of liberation. Therefore, the mind which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is a cause of supreme liberation. So this is how mind has to be done. So for person who has conquered the mind can become the best friend. They are athletes, people who run every day in the morning for getting into a competition. For Olympics, they go up to Olympics. So when they have to do this, they give their experiences. How they used to find very, very difficult to get up in the morning, because as youngsters, every youngster has habit to sleep late, get up late, and parents are taking care, or general youth tendency. Not that every youth may get that facility, but generally the youth tendency is like that. But these sports people who actually worked hard for getting a gold medal or silver medal, they said initially it was very, very difficult for us to get up early in the morning and go for a running race or for a jogging and doing our workout. It was very, very difficult. But later we found it very enthusiastic. And now we have won our race. Now we feel even more happy. We are actually feeling very inspired by what we have done. This happened to a person who is having too much of obesity also, and they start following some basic diet, and after that they see people appreciating them. Oh, you are done very well. How come, madam, you have reduced so much of weight? You are looking very nice. How much, sir, were you weight? Suddenly you have become so thin. The more people are saying, the more enthusiasm it comes. He forgets all the pain what he has taken, all the painstaking experiences he was feeling. Oh, I will not do this, I will not do that. Next day when he gets up in the morning, he'll see all that inspiration of his friends and everybody appreciating. No, I will keep up my body henceforward very well. It is told that how this body system is made up in such a way, it itself can cure our diseases. Grandmothers used to put something in our mouth in childhood. It may be something good or something bad, we never knew. But if the grandmother does some magic to grandchildren and says, your disease will be cured by tomorrow morning, I am putting some water on your face, or she may give some herbal medicine to take. We really don't know how much that herbal medicine or these prayers or water she is sprinkling on her body or on her head was helping. But the body has its own system, self-healing system. That confidence actually cures many diseases. We all would have experienced, we go to doctor, and I think 50% of the cases if you see in youngsters, they don't take medicines. Once going to doctor only. Surprisingly, next 1 week they are all right. Not in chronic diseases, small some issues. They will be thinking, I have to go to doctor, and doctor you will go and come, maybe some small pimples on the face or some cold or some cough or some fever, even sometimes little more bigger. For that you should not neglect your disease, but going to the doctor and coming itself gives us a moral booster, and that gives us a satisfaction. A doctor has seen us. So 50% of the cases, people who go to doctor, they don't take medicines but they are cured. This is also an analysis from a lot of medical journals. How our body is a self-healer. So what is actually working? It's not that the chemicals, our nervous system, we have how many number of bones in the body, our these blood cells, what they are working. Not only that, beyond that, our brain, beyond our brain, our mind is there. This mind is very, very powerful. This mind, if you train it, it can be so strong that even in spite of externally your body is having problems, you can still tolerate. There were people in cyclones or in any other natural calamities, floods, the buildings are fallen down and they are somewhere below. There is a disaster management, natural disaster management people, they come, they help people to move out. Certain times there are bodies, they are found after 1 week, and that people who are there, that young boy or a young man or an old man, they were still surviving below that. Lot of sand is fallen on them and they are still surviving. In a normal condition, our electric fan is switched off. In summer, we cannot stay more than 5 minutes. We always complain, no, I want my power back. But the power of mind, I want to survive, is so strong. 1 week without food, with so much of disturbance on their body. People, there are cases where they were taken out from, even there was a kid fallen in a borewell, and it took for military people to remove that child. Some children have died and sometimes they have helped also, but the children, can you imagine a small child which has fallen in a borewell? The children are so much fearful of darkness. Why children? Any of us also, if there is no light, we are fearful. Yeah, there are brave people, but generally darkness people fear, especially small kids. So 2 years old kid, 3 year old kids, when the borewell is being made, suddenly they walked and fell, and somebody notices that and they try to bring them back. These children are crying inside, and parents from top are giving some suggestions to them, and the children comes out successfully also. There are cases when there are success, there are cases when there are failures. But can you imagine, in the darkness, deep inside, some 100 meters inside or 200 meters inside, how much fearful it is conditioned. So, where food it will get, there is no proper food available. And in natural disasters, we see how people are in such a difficult situation. In Puri, there was a very big cyclone in 1999. It was called as a super cyclone in Odisha. And in 2008, when our institution was doing some charitable programs through government, there was a flood, and the food was sent in boats also from our charitable institution. It was going, and we saw the situation was very, very difficult. And 2 years back, again Fani cyclone, and again this cyclone, one more cyclone. The whole building gets devastated. There is no power in Jagannath Puri. 1 whole month at least it was not there. We had no water, no gas, no electrical connection. Some 5,000 electrical lines had fallen down. I heard in Bhubaneswar, in some houses, the kids are crying, mother has to make something and give. They have to go somewhere outside, nothing is available. So such kind of situation natural disasters are. People have survived. Even now, they came back and again they became normal, and again it's going on. So to face such kind of difficult situations, if it is a shock, surprisingly it comes, it's very, very difficult for us to face. But if there is a training right from first, how to control our mind, how to say no to our senses, there is a way recommended in all kind of disciplines, whether it's science or religion or military discipline In any kind of thing, there is a way how it should be done. There is a regular training for us to get up in the morning. We all get up in the morning, early in the morning, and that helps us to keep up our spiritual practices, our consciousness. We can tapasa brahmacharyena shamena damena va tyagena. It all starts with tapasya. Tapasya is you have to accept some voluntarily pain to your body, voluntary austerities. So this is actually training to the mind. So let us see how when mind is managed. This is in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There is a very beautiful explanation how you have to follow tapasya, austerities. And there are different level of austerities for the mind, austerities for our body, austerity of speech. So let us see how mind, let us start with mind. Mind can be controlled when you give it some regulation. What is the regulation? Manaha prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhi riti etat tapo manasam uchyate. What does it mean? Manaha prasadaha. We all want satisfaction of mind. Manaha prasadaha means satisfaction of the mind. You will definitely get. How? Tapo manasam uchyate. By giving it some voluntarily trained. How can you voluntarily train the mind? By maunam. Maunam means not just silence. Maunam means gravity. So, Atma Vinigraha, by controlling, by serenity, by simplicity, by gravity, by self-control, purity of thoughts, these are the austerities of mind. This is Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter 16th shloka. To make the mind austere is to detach from sense gratification. It's an important training. We think that our YouTube is open. If you get an opportunity, if I can see something which can tempt my senses and advertisements are given, you please open this app, you will enjoy. You will open this video, you will enjoy. But actually you are getting into trouble. It is not giving you enjoyment. You should remember, the moment you take flickering happiness, then immediately you lose actual happiness. A regular sinful person, a regular youth who wants to enjoy, and a spiritual transcendentalist, they both want happiness. Not that happiness is denied, but what happens? Flickering happiness doesn't remain. What is the use of flickering happiness? In Bhagavatam, it gives an explanation of, like we see in deserts, we see hallucinations. These kind of images we see on the road, like some water is there. So in deserts also that kind of images we see. We see something is there, some water is there. So if we are seeing, can you imagine what kind of hallucinations animal will have? So poor animal, it will run in the desert thinking that there is water here, there is water here. Then it will go and die without getting water. So our sense gratification is like that. We will be thinking, it's a flickering happiness, now I will get happiness. Now I will get happiness. What happens is, there is an illusion, energy. And this illusion and energy is actually called Maya. And Maya has two kinds of energy. One is a bewildering energy. Suppose you have thought, few days I will not take any bad things whichever will harm my body. I will practice everyday yoga and I will keep up my body, mind pure with serenity, and I will be very pure. Immediately next day you will get an ad that whatever you like, some food that is available for you for a lesser cost. Or your friend will come and ask, Are yaar, what you are doing? Please come, let us go and have a party. You will think, let me postpone my practices for next day. I will do it tomorrow. It will not happen, nothing will happen. Either you can restrain or your mind will say bewildered, you get bewildered, mind will say okay chalega. So two things are there. One is a bewildering energy and one more is a covering energy. So when you get bewildered, after that what will happen? Then you actually go and indulge in it. So two phases are there always. That's why thinking, feeling and willing. There are three stages of the mind. In the thinking stage, it's like you are still driving the vehicle. You have still control on the vehicle. Suppose when your vehicle you are going, you will see some place where you can enjoy. So that's the first bewildering thing. You can see some big posters inviting you somewhere. So it's a bewildering tendency. That's a stage. You are in a thinking stage. Then you start feeling stage. When you really feel, then you will. You want to do it. So mind has two work. One is called sankalpa, means you accept things. Then one more is called vikalpa, you reject things. Sometimes you accept things and that is called bhoga. Bhoga means accepting false enjoyment. You accept enjoyment. I want it, I want it, I want it. After some time you will feel disgusted, very frustrated, depressed after taking so much. Just like one ice cream you will feel very nice. It's very nice. Second ice cream you will feel even more nice. Third ice cream, it's nice but please give me. But the same thing when it becomes when your friends are ragging you and they are putting into your mouth 8, 10, 15, then you will feel, my God, I don't want ice cream in my life. You will get into saturation point. So any sense gratification is like that. If you want to eat or sleep or mate or defend. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunamcha. These four things, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. These four things you do more than your dosage. Salt also, like we have discussed earlier, how much ever you want, that much only you should take. Sugar as much as you want, you can take. More than that you cannot take. So there is a requirement to practice how much I can take and be healthy. So that is what is this tendency of training our mind. So here training the mind is to detach from sense gratification. Like there are certain people who feel that these principles, it's a religious way of controlling the mind. So we should not control the mind. Let us indulge in it, in sense gratification. So by that you can come out of it. Actually, that is also a procedure mentioned even in the religious books. In the Vedic literatures also, there are such kind of recommendations. But this kind of recommendations are given to people according to that person on what kind of disease he is in. A person is too much addicted to kill and eat and take alcohol. That is called as pravritti marga. Pravritti means according to our habits, we have been told to regulate. If you are eating every day, suppose they are taking red meat or this meat or that meat and they are overeating. So the doctor will not say one day you stop. So they say you little by little you reduce that, you take some other item like that they recommend. So even in the Vedic literatures, it is said in a Kartik Mass you should not take, or some Mondays you should not take, or some Shravan Mass you should not take. Like that they keep so many restrictions so that that day they don't take. Slowly sometime later they will reduce it and slowly come down. Similarly, a person is drinking 10 bottles of alcohol every day, the doctor may say you take 1 bottle alcohol every day. So if that is a recommendation for a person who is taking 10 bottles of alcohol, does it mean a person who has started taking initial stages of alcohol And before he gets into too much of alcohol, they say alcohol is not good, don't touch also. Don't take drugs, not at all good for you. Suppose somebody is too much addicted, then also doctors say drugs are very addictive, please don't take it. I heard about one drug in US. I don't know whether it's LSD drug or some other drug. When the drug was released, generally any drugs are released for medical purpose. Sometimes the black market people, they take some drugs which are not allowed by government, more than a certain percentage, you have to take prescription. The doctor has told that you have to take prescription, maybe you are not able to get sleep, you can take. I heard in United States of America or in United Kingdom, most of the Western countries, these tranquilizers, the sleeping pills, they are the most sold than anything in the world. In the market they have high value, and when they are not given properly according to the prescription, they get into the black market. Can you imagine now, when in India it was poor country and people have having tension because of poverty. Actually poverty also gives us anxieties. It is said Daridra dosha unarnashi. All our, by Daridra, in poverty, all our good qualities also are lost. So too much of poverty is also difficult. So it requires a decent living. But if suppose somebody is got into so much of richness also, and they are getting everything, but still they don't get proper sleep. Okay, you are a poor man, you don't have any money, so in India you don't have anything, you are suffering. But there you are having money, you are having sense gratification, you have alcohol, you have men, women, big cinemas, everything, but still you want drugs. Why? You want drugs to sleep. So in America, one drug which scientists was restricted in the market, that they should not release that because it is becoming addictive. So the black market people went to that scientist and asked, give the formula to me. So that scientist told, I will not give you, because I have promised to the government that I will not release this. So they offered him some amount of dollars. Maybe for example, maybe they offered him some $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. I heard after certain limit, maybe if it is $1 million or $2 million, he agreed, okay. So even after having education, even after having this, they release these drugs and they become addictive. So there is no problem to say, no, don't take drugs. But if suppose somebody is addictive, there are also some means that you can control it by taking little by little. So one is called Pravritti Marga, one is called Nivritti Marga. One is accepting it with regulation, one more is total rejection. So spirituality generally recommends you reject it. But in spirituality also, if suppose somebody is not in that platform, they give regulated way of controlling it. So one day they should also say no, because this body doesn't require more than what is actually it can take. Like our stomach, although you may be feeling I will take one tank of juice or alcohol or whatever, but your capacity is only 5 glasses of mango juice or 10 glasses. That can, more than that, your intestine, small intestine or your belly, it cannot take up. So this is what this Bhagavad Gita is speaking. Bhagavad Gita is not meant only for saying that, oh, you have to do meditation. So this Bhagavad Gita is a religious book, so I will not follow. No, Bhagavad Gita is giving all these principles. Bhagavad Gita is saying how much you should eat. These are all in Bhagavad Gita only. It is saying what you have to do for your controlling your tongue. It is saying you have to follow Anutvekavarkaram Vakyam. If your tongue is too much talking nonsense, make it speak truthfulness. And you should recite the scriptures regularly. Then what you have to do, to make the mind austere, you should detach it from sense gratification. So we should always be trained in a way to be doing good for others. See, mind can be trained. So when you do good for others, your mind gets some satisfaction. When you always want to be self-centered, I only should be recognized, everybody should praise me only, naturally people around you cannot appreciate you because you are so selfish person. You cannot appreciate good in others, you cannot tolerate others. How will you get good supporters? Maybe you will get some people who will be pampering you, oh you are great, and they will never be your real well-wisher. Only when you can able to tolerate others' fault, they will be able to tolerate your fault. So it's important for us to control our mind, to control our senses, even for basic relationship. If you want to be a good husband, you should know how to tolerate your wife. Want to be a good father, know how to control your children, not only by shouting, beating them and all, showing them affection, by giving them real love, by giving them real spirituality, real knowledge, by which they can come out of unnecessary habits. Like it is said, the best training for mind is gravity of thought. What Krishna is speaking in the Bhagavad Gita, this Krishna consciousness, this God consciousness, we should not be deviated. For that, what we should do? Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. You do trial for yourself. You sit in front of something which you like more than a certain capacity. You cannot watch TV more than capacity. You cannot enjoy food more than a capacity. You cannot enjoy sensual happiness, sexual happiness more than a capacity. So these are all mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. They are saying there is no possibility of mind become satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind by full of satisfying stories, by reading full of satisfying stories. You get full satisfaction when you read from Bhagavatam. I remember one pastime from Bhagavatam where there is Indra and Bali. See, Bali, Maharaj Bali, he was a devotee of Lord Vishnu, but he was in the dress of a demon. Even among the demonic family, there are great devotees. Not that every time devotee means he has to be born in a Sura family, Brahmin family, a rich family. It's not like that. In any circumstances, you can become a very great spiritualist. So he was a great spiritualist, he was a great devotee, but he was taking a role of a demon. So Indra and Bali Maharaj, because Bali is a demonic king, so they fought each other and Bali Maharaj actually defeated them. In one circumstances where Indra actually came to fight with Bali, when he overpowered him after getting nectar, so he became very proud, very proud, and he said, do you know Bali whom you are in front of me? I am Indra, I am so great person. And there Bali Maharaj, what he is saying is, oh Indra, you may be great now, everything is in the hands of Kala, in the time. By time somebody can be successful and by time somebody can have failure. Everything depends upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kala, the Lord's instrument, is more powerful than you and me. Actually, by hearing that, my heart felt so nice. In any pastime, if you read from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana also has so nice, soothing pastimes where Vibhishana comes once after he gives up the company of his brother. He comes to Lord Rama and everybody says, you reject him, he's a demon, you reject him. Lord Rama, please reject him. But Lord Ram says, do you know, if somebody comes to me, even if they are my enemy, and if they ask, oh Rama, please give me shelter, I will protect them from the cycle of birth and death. I promise that I will give them protection. That's the word of the Lord. When we hear, we feel so much of satisfaction. Even after watching 100 movies, you will not get this satisfaction. Maybe you will get some temporary 1 hour satisfaction of by watching a movie with nice music or some nice message. But what satisfaction you can get by the real Vedic literature, real knowledge, real wisdom that keeps on reminding us what is our duty, how we can be happy in many circumstances, how can we face real trouble in life. This is what is Bhagavad Gita, this is what is Ramayana, this is what is any Vedic literature. It's all meant for soothing our heart. So this is how to control our mind. The best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literatures. It's full of satisfying stories. One can take advantage of Mahabharata or any literatures and become purified. So control of mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. So such a simple formula. So either you have to follow only two processes are there. Nivritti and Pravritti. Nivritti is directly you can say no, or by training you can say no. The other way, you feel that okay, I will say no for a temporary time. Just like there are some vrat, like we have Navratri vrat, so many vrats are there. We do yearly this kind of tapasya so that we will understand these are all not permanent for me happiness. So let me do some vrat. Like this, there is a Purushottam Mass which is happening. So which 1 month Chatur Mass and also Kartik Mass, people don't take meat or they follow some tapasya. It should not be meant for Navaratri or any time, that I am doing this for 1 week or 1 month and I am waiting for a day when I can again do back that activities. This is the fault of Pravritti Marga. The Pravritti Marga is compared to be like pouring ghee in fire. If you see suddenly you put a ghee in fire, it appears that the fire has gone away down. But after some time that fire will become so huge. So in lust especially, you should not think that I will pour little lust for some time, then after that I will become peaceful. Little more lust, I will see one cinema. That's why it is said, prone videos in TED Talks or any knowledge talks, if you see, they always have given a lot of tips. How by stopping prone or by masturbation, all this kind of youth where youth get into all kind of dangers by watching prone movies and all, how they always say, you please stop it. And the trouble, some people give tips that how that somebody, there is a flesh trade happening, somebody stops, the different elements people can stop. They understand something, different points they understand, oh I should not do this because there are people who are selling their body, they are put into torture. So why should I promote that kind of flesh trade? Because I am watching, so they are doing. So there are people who are stopped like that. And there are certain people, they understand that it becomes so addictive. Whomever they see around them, their family, their father, mother, daughter, everybody they will start visioning like that, in that. They get so disgusted. It is said in Bhagavatam that Pandita api akarshati. We may think that, oh, this such kind of person who is seeing all this kind of nonsense and is getting attracted by daughter, mother and all, he may be a very nonsense person. No, even Pandita api akarshati. Matra, swasra, duhitra va. Even if it is a mother, sister or daughter, you should not sit in a solitary place. So this is not a restriction in a general sense. Especially you should not sit in a private place, means they are saying don't give opportunity. Why you have to watch prone movie or anything with your family and then you get lusty on them and then you say how this is very logical, animals have sense gratification, sexual with other animals, why human beings cannot have. You are different, your human body is made in such a way it is told about dreams. Human dreams, how there are different levels of consciousness. When we are sleeping, there is a total sleeping stage, intermediate stage, and later where we have a dream stage. Sometimes when we wake up in intermediate stage, we have heard there is something called sleeping paralysis. That when we not able to get up and then we feel we are choked, sometimes we feel ghost has entered. They say these are all psychological analysis. They are saying that sometimes you feel you are not able to come out of that because that your body is saying I will not get up. Your mind is always awake. It is at every minute thousands of thoughts goes out from our mind. For every minute thousands of thoughts are coming. So that's why this mind should be trained properly. Not that we become like an animal. We are given very high consciousness. You train a ape or a monkey, or we say you are aping. Aping means you just imitate somebody. So we don't have to ape, or to become an ape we don't have to get trained. You don't require training. In Puranas there is one story of Indra, the king of heaven. He was cursed by one sage because Indra is considered to be the number one lustful person. Not that all the higher planetary system they are gods. They are administrative demigods. Administrative means they are administrative in nature. Not that they are all God, I am God, you are God. We are part and parcel of God. Not that people who are in heavenly planets, they are all God and we are all demons or human beings. Not like that. Everybody are part and parcel of God. Whether you get a demigod body or this body or any body, every body is temporary until you go back and get a spiritual body. So we are that God consciousness is totally different. Anyway, Indra is considered to be the number one lustful demigod or administrative god. So he was once cursed by a sage. See how a sage can curse? Because of this tapasya. When you follow austerity of mind, you get bhala, energy. So until you have energy to fight with this world, with these energies, the higher energies are there. So this body is not all in all. So you require how to get these higher energies? By tapasya of mind, tongue, senses, and this can be done. There is a procedure how to do this. This Indra, he was cursed to become a hog. Hog means pig. And he had his family. So there were a lot of complaints. Generally, we know how when there is a traffic police is not there, nobody follows traffic. So he's administrative demigod. So there was a lot of disturbances. So people went and complained to Brahma. So Brahma came to the earth and he saw Indra is very happily enjoying. Generally pigs become very fat by eating stool. This waste product, it has some hydrophosphate or whatever, some name we can say chemically. These pigs, they eat all this and they become very fat. One more thing you can notice, they when they become fat, they feel they are very happy. This is one more illusion of Maya. Maya always makes us believe that we are very happy. If you understand you are not happy, you will want to come out of it. So this is an illusion. So he was put into illusion. So when Indra was called by Lord Brahma, this is not your life, please come to heaven, your post is ready. So Indra in the form of a pig told, no, I have lot of responsibility. I have my wife pig, I have my daughter pig, I have so much of responsibility is there. So even if Indra comes to the earth and he is being given a position of a pig, he starts thinking that he has responsibility. And in the form of a pig, they have no discrimination of daughter or mother or sister, and they happily have sex with other animals. So this is hog enjoyment. So there should be a difference between hog enjoyment and human enjoyment. That's why human consciousness is higher than animal consciousness. So we have to control our mind, and the process of controlling our mind is not pravritti marga, nivritti marga. Pravritti marga and nivritti marga both are mentioned in our Bhagavad Gita and Vedic literatures. One is rejecting process and one is accepting with regulation. That's how marriage is given, so that we get regulated and not that we go on having sense gratification. So that's how it is said that you can never see a body of a wife or a body of a husband as a lust gratifying mission. So you should respect that body, and then by controlling the mind, one can be straightforward, by being straightforward in dealings, and then by purify our existence, is what Bhagavad Gita is saying. All these qualities together, they constitute austerity in mental activities. This is how our austerities of mind have to be done, and we will discuss more. Thank you. Jai Jagannath. Hare Krishna.